Hey guys, it's Erica with an A. Welcome to my channel where I give my lighthearted reviews and unapologetic opinions about these crazy reality TV shows. Now you already know Married at First Sight is my show. I watch it every Wednesday. I'm obsessed, okay? So be sure to like and subscribe if you like my review. If you want to chat, leave some comments. Have fun with me on Wednesday night as we go through these episodes. Now, let's dive in. So, the episode starts off with everyone's back from the honeymoon, right? So now it's time to move into the apartments. So it starts off with Lindsay and Mark, which Lindsay's, being her nurturing self, right? She's telling Mark, we have a really busy day in the morning, so I think it's best that we go to sleep because we have to move out of your bug bed infested apartment. And so she just keeps reminding him how that nasty apartment's going to be a lot of work, and he agrees. He does say in his confessional that he does like that she's nurturing and caring, but we all know she can be very pushy and over the top, so they're going to probably discuss that in this episode, okay? Then it goes into O and Katina. So they get into their apartment, and the first thing O talks about is this darn food. I am so sick of him bringing up cooking. It's driving me nuts. Anyways, so Katina's in the kitchen. He's like, yeah, turn around so I can see you in the kitchen by the stove. And she's just like, okay, yeah, I'll be cooking. But you know damn well we can see Katina don't know how to cook. She's so damn scrawny. She ain't cooking, right? And so she's in her confessional. She's basically saying like, look, I'm used to caring for myself, going out to eat. So this will be an adjustment, but I'm up for the challenge. So at least she's being positive, okay? But I am sick of him bringing up the food topic. It's getting on my nerves. Anyways, Noi and Steve, they move in and they're being cute as usual. They're trying to see if Steve's going to fit in the bed because he is tall. And luckily he fits in the bed. They bring up the dog situation. So Noi has a small dog that she says basically sleeps in the bed with her and will probably sleep in the bed even though Steve's in the bed as well. Steve, to me, looks like he's like, I'm not really feeling it. Like, I like dogs, but can they have their own bed, like on the floor? Or maybe, we can build like a little ottoman at the bottom of at a bench or something at the bottom of the bed that the dog can sleep on. Like, he's trying to come up with ideas because I think him having a dog in his face while he's sleeping, he ain't feeling it. Noi is not budging on that damn dog, and I think she needs to start budging. I think people need to realize that everyone isn't dog obsessed, okay? So you have to accommodate other people. That's your dog. That's not his dog. Anyways, Chris and Alyssa. So, of course, Alyssa does not move in. And so Chris moves in. And I'm just thinking, oh, man, give it up. Like, give up on this girl. And don't move into that apartment. Do not give her what she wants, which is to be on this show. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm very upset that he's even continuing to embarrass himself like this over this girl. Now Mike and Jasmina, so they move into the apartment. Jasmina has not really been getting along with Mike, right? We all know they've been having their little tits and tats and they're not getting along. So basically, she's like, hey, I need to go find out what I'm going to do with my dog and put him into doggy daycare. And so I'm going to be away for about a couple days to gather my thoughts and get my dog together. Now, immediately, Mike's looking like, girl, we just moved in. Like, I'm not about to do this. Like, we committed to this. I don't think this is a good idea for your marriage. And I totally agree with him. Like, going to live in a separate place for a couple days would be fine if y'all were dating or something. Y'all are married and you only have like 9 weeks to get the shit together. You don't have time, 8 weeks to get it together. You don't have time for a couple days to have your own time. You do not have time for that. Come on, Jasmine. You know this. So I was very disappointed with her saying that. But you could tell she's not feeling Mike right now. So she maybe have needed that time to kind of regroup because she has been negative. Like, I have not seen Jasmina smile very often. She always has this stank face on. And I don't know if she just has a resting bitch face, but it just seems like she doesn't take that face off. You know what I mean? So maybe she needs some time to regroup and get it together, okay? Now, all the couples are now waking up on their first day in the apartment, okay? And so we already know they're going to show the couples brushing their teeth because Married at First Sight, for some reason, brushing your teeth together is a sign of marriage, which I don't understand. Me and my husband never brush our teeth together. Like, he'll brush his teeth. When he's done, I'll brush mine, or vice versa. It's never, we're just like, yeah, I hope you have a good day at work. Well, no one's doing that. Like, I don't get it. But anyways, back to what I was saying. They show the brushing the teeth, and now it's time to visit their homes. So we go to Noi and Steve. So first we go see Noi's apartment. And let's face it, Noi's super cute, and so is her apartment. It's very cutely decorated. She shows where the dog typically sleeps, and basically the dog sleeps on the couch in its little, bed on the floor, and then also in her bed. So she doesn't have a definite spot in hell. It's a dog. What dog really does have a definite spot? Usually they pick a few. So that wasn't surprising, but they still brought up the dog thing again. And so for me, if I was Noi, I would say, okay, Steve keeps bringing this up. This may be an issue. Not Noi, though. She's not going to compromise, right? She's like, no, the dog is sleeping in between us. I don't know. I'm not a super dog person, so I don't understand fully. But I do know that some people just don't like a dog snoring in their face. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, so they go over to Steve's spot. And guys, I was shocked at Steve's apartment. First, because I swear he said for the last 4 months, he's been riding around, sleeping in his van, traveling the United States, kind of on a road trip. So I was thinking, oh, he was living in the van. He probably doesn't have a place to stay. But now seeing his apartment, this changes a lot for me. I don't know about you guys, but this changes a lot for me because now it makes me realize, hold up. Steve is stable in some sense. And when you looked at the apartment, it looks like he lived there. It didn't look like it was like an Airbnb or he just moved in. Like, no, he's been living there. He had his neon lights and he was super proud of them. And Nori was like, I'm kind of sick of the light thing. But for the most part, his apartment was pretty normal. Now, I will say, I think men in general love the neon lights. Because my husband loves them. Like, every room, he wants a different shade. And I'm like, this is not matching my decor, But they love that. So I wasn't shocked with the neon light obsession because I think a lot of men have this obsession. I'm just saying, I really do. But anyways, I was just shocked about his apartment, guys. I thought he was living in a van, And so then when he, has an apartment, I'm like, well, no, what you worried about? He is paying these bills with something, right? So he's making some money. I mean, they're in Boston, Anyways, so then going to Lindsay and Mark. So we already know we're about to walk into Mark's apartment, and he has set the expectation up to where we're about to walk into some shit, right? We're about to see bed bugs everywhere crawling up the walls. We're about to see some stuff, okay? So they even have the outfits on, y'all. They have the whole COVID-19 cover-up of their whole body, right? About to walk into this apartment. At first, I was like, this is a little extra, only because Mark's been living there with the bed bugs. So it's not like, so when you met him, when he had on his suit at the wedding, that had been in that bug-fested apartment. It's already been there. So why are we acting all suited and booted now? Like, I just thought it was a little extra to put the whole gear on, but hey, I understand. So they go in and they pack some of his things. And we already know Lindsay's about to be extra, right? So he's pointing out things, telling her a little bit about himself and pointing out things in his place. And so he says, hey, I only use this one plate. It's a special plate, this kind of thing. And so basically he's saying he's going to probably take it with him to the apartment. Lindsay, though, extra Lindsay's. Like, oh, well, do you really need that? And it's like, how are you going to tell him what he needs to bring to the apartment? This is his things, right? He's not bringing a big old motorcycle and putting it in the living room here. You know what I mean? It's a plate. But anyway, so she kept nitpicking everything, right? He said, hey, this is my old baseball gear. She's like, why do you have that? You know, just nitpicking. And I'm just like, Lindsay, maybe you should have stayed home. You know what I mean? And you could tell Mark was starting to get annoyed with her helping by packing all his stuff in trash bags, acting like it was just trash. You know what I mean? And what I think Mark should have done is say, hey, yes, I have a bed bug problem. I'm going to get that taken care of. How about you come in and see my apartment, and then you leave, and then I will pack myself. You know what I mean? Because Lindsay's so judgmental that it would be best for you to just handle it, because she was going to be condescending, motherly-like, and start bossing him around. You know what I mean? So I wish he would have done that instead, because the way she handled it, I would have been like, girl, just leave and let me handle it. You know what I mean? But anyways. Okay, so now, let me flip my page here. All right, now going to O and Katina. So, O, you keep surprising me. You're about to be my favorite O. I was very skeptical about you, but now you are surprising me. So O goes to show us his place, and it's a house. It's a beautiful home. It's super cute on the outside. They walk in, and they first go to the kitchen. Okay, so of course he's a man, and a lot of men do not have the best home decor styles. Okay, so he did have these curtains. Sorry. He had those Family Dollar curtains. And you know what I mean. The ones I love coffee. It has little coffee mugs. Like, oh, you got that from the dollar store. You are not tricking me. I love Family Dollar, and that is from Family Dollar. But anyways, so he had these curtains, and Katina was not really impressed with that. You know, the house was an older home, and so Katina was probably like thinking, you know, I love the home, but I can probably renovate it a little bit. You know, she mentioned, you know, a few things that she would tweak, and everything she mentioned, I was in agreement with, okay? Then they go and show his gym, which I thought was impressive. It had weights in it and all that kind of thing. He's like, hey, how do you like the color? And it was like this puke green color, and I'm like, I hope she didn't say it's cute. I hope she's being real. But she even said, not really feeling the color, but we can, you know, renovate and do our thing. And so at the end of it, basically, he was like, so what do you think of the home? Scale of 1 to 10. She's like, the home's an 8. The decor is about a 5.3. And I totally agree with the 5. I probably would have said a 3 with the decor. But to me, having a home, being stable, I loved that the most. And so that's what I would see in a man is, he's stable, he has a home, all that little stuff we can tweak. You know what I mean? So I was very shocked with O. One person that we didn't see their apartment was Katina. And I'm like, I wanted to see where Katina lived, because she was so kind of judgmental on O's place. So I wanted to see what's your crib look like. You know what I mean? But they didn't show us, so I don't know what was up with that. All right, going to Mark and Lindsay. So Lindsay shows off where she lives, and she has a cute place. Like, I really was feeling it. She had lots of plants, really earthy looking, kind of hippie kind of look, and I was really feeling it. To me, they said, like Mark was saying, this is so Lindsay, but I didn't get that vibe from Lindsay. I thought it was going to be very like farmhouse look from Lindsay. Did y'all feel that too? Like, she seems like one of the farmhouse decor people. You know what I mean? Like, to me, she did not fit that apartment. So I was very shocked because it was cute. But anyways, I really liked it. Not much to say there. They have a lot of cats. And so he was just kind of like, this is Lindsay right here with all these plants that she's named actual names. Me, I was just impressed because every plant, and I mean every plant of mine dies. So to see someone that has plants living and so long that you have names for them, I was impressed. Okay. Anyways, so now going to Mark and Jasmina. So, this one's interesting, y'all. I don't know what to really say about Mike right now with what just happened. But anyways, okay. So they get to Mike's place, right? They're going his room. It's really, like just men, why do y'all do this? Like, I know y'all can decorate a little, but anyways. So we go to Mike's room. It's really plain. He doesn't even have curtains, y'all. He has the sheets over the windows. Did y'all peep that? And if they're not sheets, they're probably just the window curtains, but he likes, stuck them up there with no rail. Ugh. Like, are we in college? Like, come on. Like, you're a grown-ass man. Anyways, so it was really bland, but it was neat, right? It wasn't a junky room, but it was really bland. And so then they walk into the living room, and she's like, oh, you mentioned you have roommates. Are they here? And you could tell Mike was getting a little nervous, right? Like, he never really said they were there. He's like, oh, I think maybe one's here. I don't know, right? And so it was odd to me, because I think if I'm walking into a home and you have roommates, that your roommates would come out and speak to me. Wouldn't you expect that? Like, you're on a TV show. But anyways, so no one comes out or anything. But there's a woman who walks out of the front door to leave. Doesn't say hi. She walks out and leaves. And he goes, yeah, that's one of my roommates. And so Jasmina's like, oh, you're roommates with a female. And she's like, yeah, a female. Okay. That's what he says, a female. He has two roommates. He identified one as a female. So Jasmine's like, oh, you never mentioned it before. And so he's like, I just felt like there was no need to mention that. And I'm like, he's like, oh, he said it just never came up. And I'm like, well, yeah, it did. Yesterday, she asked, do you have any roommates? Have you ever lived with a woman? You said you've never lived with a woman. That's what you told her yesterday. Then at the wedding day, she mentioned that she has a guy roommate. That was your opening. That was your whole, to put it in there, that, oh, yeah, really? I have women roommates. That's what you do, but not Mike. He did it for a reason, and I want to know why. I want to know more about this roommate. Do y'all? Because I'm put in the comments if you want to know more, because I want to know more. I think something's up with that. So anyways, so they go to Jasmina's spot, and Jasmina, they don't really show us Jasmina's spot, but they do point out her dog. And Jasmina by far has the cutest dog on this show. Adorable. I think it's one of those, what's it, like the golden retriever poodle things. Oh, so cute. But yeah, I think she has one of those dogs. Cute dog. Okay. So going back to Lindsay and Mark, when they move into the apartment, of course they have those 5 cats, right? And so they were very eerie about, are these cats really going to mesh together? It sounds like there's a little fighting in the beginning, but hell, wouldn't you be fighting too if you just moved in and you got 3 new roommate cats, right? You thought y'all were the only 2 cats and then 3 come in? Give the cats a break, I would be upset. That's all I got to say. You know what I mean? All right, moving on to Jasmina and Mike. So Jasmina wants to discuss what the heck's going on with the roommate situation. And honestly, I don't blame her. Because at this point, I'm like, I need to know more, because you're leaving some things out, right? So Jasmina's like, okay, you didn't really mention the one female roommate. So you said you had 2 roommates. Is the other one a female as well? And he goes, oh, I didn't mention that? Yeah, I have 2 female roommates. I'm like, dude, Mike, what you doing? Why did you mention that? You know what I mean? Like, dude, something's up. You are not fooling me, sir. Something's up with these females. I want to know more. So basically, Jasmina's like, this dude's lying. He is a liar. And I'm feeling the same exact way as you, Jasmina. Something is up with these females. I want to know more. Okay, I want to know more. All right, going on to Mark and Lindsay. They do a quick snippet of Lindsay on like the camera where she's holding the camera, like a vlog of what's going on. And she's basically like, you know, Mark's one way on camera and then off camera he's another way, and I'm not feeling it. And I'm like, oh Lord, Lindsay's about to go off, right? And when people say that, hey, you're one way on camera, one way off, I don't really blame people or think it's fake for them to do that. Because if you can imagine, I can't even imagine if I had a camera following me around while I'm trying to have intimate, real conversation with a person. I couldn't imagine the kind of persona I would put on, because I just wouldn't, you know, you have a camera. So it's almost like you feel like you have to put on a show. So I feel like it would be hard to be authentic on camera like people expect you're supposed to be. Do y'all feel the same way? That's how I feel about it. I can't be shocked if someone's being a little fake on camera, because I feel like that would be natural until you get the swing of things and forget the camera's there, you know? Anyways, so going to Chris and Alyssa. So, of course, she doesn't want anything to do with Chris. So, of course, she's not going to have conversations with him. So, they're going to show them having separate conversations. So, Alyssa meets with her mom, and her mom seems very sweet. And basically, she's like, okay, Mom, I know you want to know what's going on. And so she says, basically, she feels like she blacked out at the wedding, right? She was kind of like, she saw him, kind of blacked out, and just carried on the night, which I think is a total load of BS, but it's Alyssa. We all know she's full of BS, right? So the mom, I liked how she said, well, he's a cute guy, and he seems really nice. And I'm like, thank you, Mama. Thank you for calling it out what it is. Chris is not a beast. Like, she's acting like he's Elephant Man. He isn't. He's a regular guy, right? He may have a little dad bod going on, but he's regular, you know? So I was glad Mom was like, he's a cute guy. You know, I thought y'all would be a good match. I like that she said that. And then Lisa comes back with it like, yeah, but, you know, he treats me horrible and disrespectful. And so as a mom, of course, you're going to be like, hey, if someone's treating you disrespectful, you know, that's a problem. But I just didn't like how Alyssa played it, because not one time has this man been disrespectful to her. And if it was me, if I was Chris, I would have had some words by now. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like, here Alyssa goes, lying to her mom, not being real. That's how I felt about it. Then Alyssa talks, her mom asks, okay, so what was it? Like, what really got you like, hey, this isn't the guy for me? And so she basically's like, you know, she heard from his friend. She didn't like what she heard. Then she went on his social media and saw that he did a post about defunding the police. All right, so I was kind of shocked because earlier in the season, Alyssa mentioned that they have different political views. And me personally, I thought that Chris was going to be the conservative dude and Alyssa was going to be the more liberal of the two. So I was kind of in shock that she is actually the conservative viewer and he is the more liberal. I thought that was so funny to me because I thought it was switched. All right, anyway, so yeah, she said he had a post about defunding the police. She wasn't cool with that, and she did not appreciate that. And I hear you. If that's your belief of defunding the police is a stupid idea and that kind of thing, okay. But why not have the conversation with Chris about his post? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, just say it. Just say, hey, you did a post about defunding the police. I wanted to get your take on it. Like, why did you do that post? That's it, right? Then immediately after she says that, it goes over to Chris hanging out with his friend. And I just love that they did it perfectly. Once she said defunding the police, bam, it goes to Chris and his friend. And his friend is a police officer. His best friend's a police officer. Loved it. I loved it. Anyways, so it goes and Chris is talking to his friend. And he's basically like, you know, she really never wanted to be with me from the beginning. She said her psychic told her that the dude would have an eagle tattoo. I don't have an eagle tattoo. And the friend is like, are you serious? Like, a psychic? So the friend was basically like, if you were dating her in like a normal situation, I would have told you, dude, this isn't the girl for you. You know, and I would say the same. If you're going off what a psychic tells you, I don't know, you know, not judging, but I just don't believe anybody that I'm paying them and then they're going to tell me things that to look for in a man. I'm paying this person. They don't have a degree in this. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just my opinion. But I thought that was hilarious. Chris's friend being a police officer, if she would have gotten Chris's opinion on what he posted, I think that would have helped out, but she didn't want to know that opinion. She was just trying to find something to not like him over. You know what I mean? We all know it. We all know it. All right, so now it's time for all the couples to meet with the pastor. Okay, Pastor Cal's about to come visit everybody. They did not split it up like having the other coaches meet with anyone. It was Pastor Cal all the rest of the episode, okay? So first, Pastor Cal sits down with Mike and Jasmina, and as you guys know, them two, they just can't seem to get it together, right? They have such small issues that could be addressed and just let go of, but they just can't, both of them cannot let go of the small things. Okay, so basically Pastor Cal sits down and says, so what is the problem? Like, what is going on with you two? And Jasmina says basically Mike yells and is aggressive to her when they have conversations, and it's really hard to get through to him when he's communicating in that style, okay? Mike kind of stops her, like, okay, I can be condescending, you know, I can be aggressive, I guess, but yelling at you, I think you're taking it too far. I haven't yelled at you. Then Jasmina goes, Michael, we're not doing this. And I was like, oh, okay. Did y'all hear that raise of tone? Because she just told us that Michael raises his voice, is disrespectful and condescending. But what does she do? She raises her voice and talks to him like a child. I just thought that was very interesting. Anyway, so she's saying, you know, you're lying. You do yell at me, and I don't appreciate you lying. So you're calling me a liar. And she's saying it in a higher tone than she did when she started this conversation. She's pretty much yelling at this point at Michael. So Pastor Cal stops them and is like, look, we got to work on the communication. And so he gears his energy towards Mike. He doesn't really address Jasmina's aggressive behavior, but he goes over to Mike and is like, look, and I liked what he said. He basically was like, look, you want to treat your wife as best as possible and with care. And so when you are getting angry, maybe y'all have almost like a code word where she says, you know, this is too much. You need to dial it back and know that I'm not your enemy, right? And when you say I'm not your enemy, then Mike needs to correct those decisions. And I was like, okay, I feel you, Pastor Cal. I think that's a great idea. And I would love to do that in my own marriage, right? I would love to say, okay, I'm not your enemy. And then your husband goes, all right, you're right. Like, it's a perfect scenario, but I did like the concept. You know what I mean? I don't know if it'll work every time, but I did like the concept. All right, moving on to O and Katina. So they sit down with Pastor Cal. The first thing Katina says is, hey, I cooked some spaghetti if you want some. And I thought that was super cute because that's how you can tell Katina can't cook. Because I'm just speaking on my own experience. The first thing I was good at making that people said, damn, your food is good, was spaghetti. Okay, that is the first, that's entry level, what you cook for people and they say, damn, that was good. You know what I mean? I add a little sugar to my spaghetti. You know, I make it real good. But anyway, so I definitely could feel Katina's energy. She's trying, and I think he should appreciate that. All right, so Pastor Cal sits down with them, and he's like, look, I was shocked that cooking was one of his criteria because he didn't even mention that. He didn't even mention it in his interview tapes. So I think that is crazy. That's like something he really needs. Now, Pastor Cal was basically like, look, I feel you on the cooking, but it's a new age. Katina is a working woman, right? And so she's not barefoot, pregnant, stay at home wife type, right? She has a career, so she won't be able to cook, clean every breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? And I feel him on that. I do think, women should try to hold some kind of traditional values as far as cooking. I think women should be mostly in charge of the cooking, but I don't believe that it should be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's no problem with a man cooking. If he enjoys cooking and he's well at it, I see no problem with a man cooking. But I do think as the woman of the household, you need to make sure everybody has a hot meal that night, whether it's a hot dog or a gourmet meal, whatever you do. You know what I mean? That is how I feel about it. But anyways, so Pastor Cal asked them, hey, have y'all been intimate, sexually, basically? And so O was like, Katina's like, no, we haven't. O was like, no, we haven't. And Pastor Cal was wondering why. And basically, I was like, it's on me, really. I've had a lot of sexual partners, and I don't want to jump into something and it not be right? The marriage doesn't work out, and now we're kind of sitting here like, damn, we had sex. And Pastor Cal said it best, stop with the what ifs, because marriage doesn't need to be about that. You shouldn't be waiting for something bad to happen and then thinking of divorce, right? You got to keep it positive. So I did like what he said, and he said, hey, I'm giving y'all the green light to have sex, okay? Get out there, have sex. Why? Because y'all are married. This is the right thing to do. And so I was feeling Pastor Cal. If y'all want to do that, do that. But I don't blame O for waiting because of his past history, right? Now, moving on to Mark and Lindsay. So they show them at their apartment before Pastor Cal gets there, and they get into a little conversation, and basically Lindsay confronts Mark about acting a little different on camera. All right, so she's like, you're not the same person, and I don't really like that. And so the conversation just goes bad so quickly. Like, she's saying she sees red flags in him. He's saying, girl, don't get it twisted. You got red flags too. And then she goes, okay, I need a break because I'm about to go off on you. So I'm going to step outside. So she steps outside on this small balcony that's real suicidal looking. Like anyone that's standing on that balcony may be ready to jump because it just is unsafe. Like, why are you on there? But anyways, so she's standing outside to get a breather before Pastor Cal comes there, and she goes, I need Pastor Cal to have this conversation. So we know it's about to be juicy, okay? So then Pastor Cal gets there, and they both sit down on the couch, and Pastor Cal's like, how's this going, right? What's the issues? And Lindsay's basically like, he's not the same person he was. He's hot and cold with me. First, we were having sex. We were affectionate. Now he barely even wants to hold my hand, And so she's like, how do you think this is making me feel? And I get it. I get where she's coming from. That's not a good place to be in, right? You want to be wanted by your husband. And if you're knowing a change, it's a problem, right? You think it's you. And it is her, okay? So Mark comes back, and he basically says, I understand we're not having sex, we're not affectionate right now, but it's because of the way you've been acting. Okay, like we had sex, we had an amazing night. Then the next day, you're cussing someone out on the plane. You're getting belligerently drunk and causing, arguments to happen. Like these things are happening while we're trying to get to know each other. So it's like, I want to get hot. Then it's like, let me back off and get cold because the stuff you're doing, it's a lot. Okay. And I don't blame him for thinking that way because that's how I am. You can't expect, sex from me if you're treating me a certain way or saying things to me that are condescending and rude and then want me to be with you the next day. Your actions are just kind of all over the place. You know what I mean? So I don't blame him. I don't blame him for feeling that way. But So Lindsay's getting a little condescending and rude like she typically does. And, Mark just poured his heart out. Like he's basically crying like, I want this to work, but, it's just, you're giving me so much energy. It's a lot. And then you come off, you wanting to help me and I appreciate it, but it's too much for me. And that what makes me pull back. Lindsay gets mad and Pastor Cal's like, Lindsay, calm down. And you know what Lindsay said? She said, I wrote it down because I was like, what? So Pastor Cal asked her, hey, what's your response to what Mark is saying? And she goes, I don't, let me see. I don't know how to define BS. I'm like, BS? What is he BSing about? Like, this is how he feels, right? Then Pastor Cal's like, well, do you hear what he's saying? And she goes, not really. It's just like one long run-on sentence. Like, this girl is rude. Oh my gosh. I couldn't. She's too condescending and rude for me. But anyways, so finally the conversation starts getting a little better because Pastor Cal's talking to them, right? And so I think they got somewhere. I don't know what it is, but I think they got somewhere. Basically, they agreed that Lindsay, you're a lot. Mark is a lot, but Lindsay's just a lot, okay? And basically, Pastor Cal's like, you need to come in small doses to people. You're bringing all of us out, and people aren't used to that yet and don't know how to respond. And I think maybe I'm lying. She didn't get through to that. She's not going to fix anything, but it sounded good. You know what I mean? It sounded good, but she's not fixing any of that. Anyway, so going back to Chris and Alyssa, finally, the conversation we've been waiting for all night long. They've showed commercials about it. We're ready to see what the heck happens with Chris and Alyssa, okay? So Alyssa makes her debut at the apartment. She's never been there before, obviously, because she didn't move in. And then when she got there, she really didn't say too much to Chris, just basically, how's it going? All right, And so Pastor Cal comes moments later, thank God. Alyssa probably told producers, hey, don't have me in this apartment long with Chris, right? Make sure Pastor Cal hurries the hell up, right? She did. So Pastor Cal comes in, they sit down, and this is the most I've ever seen Alyssa and Chris in the same setting where Alyssa doesn't get up and walk away. Like, this was the first I've ever seen this. So I was loving it. Okay, so Alyssa's so Pastor Cal's basically like, okay, what's going on? And Chris says, look, I'm trying. I signed up for this process, but Alyssa does not want to be married to me, doesn't find me attractive or compatible. And so this is where we're at. Okay. And so Alyssa says, oh, well, I really want to try in this process. And I'm like, try what? Like, what? She's like, I still have hope. And I'm like, hope for what? What are we talking about here? Hope for what? And so even Chris was like what? Have hope for what? She's like, trying to make this work. So we all knew that was total BS because Alyssa don't want to be there. Not with no Chris with the crooked teeth. She don't want to be there. But anyways, she wants to be on this TV show and she wants to be in that apartment because she really thinks the show is going to film her sitting at an apartment by herself. She really thinks that's what the viewers want to see. Whatever. So when I hear that, I'm just like, okay. So then Pastor Cal's like, all right, so let's talk about the living situation, right? Like, you don't obviously live here. And she's like, well, there's a lot of reasons why I don't live here. One is that we both have 2 big dogs and I'm allergic to dogs. And I'm like, wait. We're talking about Alyssa, right? The one who shelters dogs, pet lover, riding horses the other day in her barn. I'm confused because you're this pet person. You've never brought up you were allergic to dogs and you have your own dog. And she said, I'm not allergic to my own dog because we've been together so long for 10 years. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm not educated in allergies. But what I do know is if you're allergic to something, if you're allergic to dogs, then wouldn't you be allergic to all dogs? I don't know. I was very confused. So was Pastor Cal. He was giving looks like, girl, this don't make no sense. And even Chris was like, here we go with the BS, right? So she says she's allergic to dogs. That's why it wouldn't be very good for her to move in. And she's not really comfortable with sleeping in the same bed as Chris. Now, what I remember is most of these apartments that they move him into have 2 beds, and I know they have a living room with a couch. So if you didn't want to sleep in the same bed with him, you literally could have slept in all of those spots. But anyways, so she says she doesn't feel comfortable sleeping in the bed, not just with Chris, but with anybody on the show. Pastor Cal calls her out and says, so why did you sign up? Because you knew what this was going to be. You knew you were going to be in the bed with somebody, right? So then Pastor Cal's like, all right, Chris, what do you feel about what she's saying? Like, where can we get with this? You know, like, what do you feel about it? And Chris is like, basically, today is my decision day. Like, from this conversation is going to make or break the relationship. Either I'm going to be in it or not, you know? And so Pastor Cal's like, so what positives have you seen in Chris? Right? And for me, I just feel like I can probably find a positive in most people. You know what I mean? Even if I've only talked to you for an hour, I can find something positive to say. Alyssa could not answer that at all. She could not find one thing, and I mean one thing, positive about Chris. And so Pastor Cal turns to Chris like, well, do you have anything positive to say about Alyssa? And he's like, well, yeah, I've addressed the positives, right? I think we look great on paper. I love that she's initiative and she's a hard worker. I love this about her, and that's what I would want in a wife, right? Like, you could find something, not her. She couldn't find a thing. Anyways, so basically, this conversation is not getting too far because everyone's confused. Alyssa said she didn't want to be with him, but now she sees hope. And Chris is kind of like, I'm pretty much checked out, right? And so Pastor Cal says, so what do you think? What do you think? And Chris didn't do a lot of explaining. You know what he told us? He said it real simple. I want a divorce. Then I loved it. I loved it because Alyssa started crying. And you know why she started crying? Because she can't be on this show anymore and move into this apartment. And I love that Chris took away the one thing she wanted, and that was to be on this show. And I love that he took that away from her and said, I want a divorce. We ain't going to be sitting up here. I stay in here for 3 weeks. You come in for 3. I ain't doing none of that. It's done. And I was so happy for Chris that he did that. In his confessional, he said, I'm glad I'm doing this because now it opens the door to find true love in the next person that I'm with, and hopefully my future wife, I'll have that opportunity to find her. And I'm like, dude, you are correct because you're a good dude. You're not an ugly dude. You aren't Elephant Man, okay? You will find another wife who's going to love you, even the little weird disc throwing hockey. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I've never heard of this, okay? But even the disc thing, you're going to find a woman who thinks it's sexy. You know what I mean? So that ends the episode, guys. It was a really good episode. Me and my husband were debating all night, we're talking about the Jasmina and the Mark and all that stuff. But it was a good episode, y'all. So be sure again to like and subscribe. Join me next week for the next episode. I think it's going to be good. I am going to be sad that Chris and Alyssa are off the show because she was very entertaining to watch. But hey, for Chris's happiness, I'm glad she's gone. Okay? All right. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to head to bed. I'm sleepy, y'all. Now, hey, did y'all notice I have on my Valentine's Day get up for y'all? Yes, I put it on just for you guys because I love you and I'm so glad that you came to my channel. Good night.